This is an instruction movie for Finsulate Antifouling, specifically for Finsulate application on sailing yachts.
The first step is to frame the install area. This should be done with 7 cm or 3 inch wide strips. Be sure to squeegee over the entire strip to secure it uniformly. To keep an edge straight, work in stages with one installer leading the run and the other sealing it to the surface. Before going to the next run, double squeegee the entire area in order to ensure it's fully sealed. For sections where the runs meet, be sure to butt joint the pieces. When making a butt joint, the trick is to use the entire blade and flex it to flush it to the surface. The free hand holds the excess film away with slight tension to create an even cut. When forming the frame around the two areas that are slightly thinner than Finsulate, be sure to squeeze the edges tight. When framing the keel, focus not only on the outside but also the area where the hull and keel meet. Rudders can have a very thin edge, therefore form one half of a strip of Finsulate on one side, then form it tightly around the corner and onto the other side. Be sure that it equals 50-50 on both sides. For sections with compound curves, the Finsulate will tend to bunch up. If this is the case, use relief cuts when necessary. Be sure to cut away from the boat and then butt joint the relief cut in order to ensure a flat seal on the surface. During the main install, when beginning with the large panels, working as a team can pay off in terms of workflow and keeping the panels from folding on themselves when the liner is released, as with normal wraps. It's important to make a permanent hinge to anchor the panel in place and then make it overlapping squeezy strokes. Applying film pressure will ensure that 100% of the adhesive bonds with the surface. When the main piece gets to the frame, be sure to tuck the film into the edge with a hard squeegee. Then double check it with one stroke from side to side. Once set, extend the blade fully and cut along the tuck in order to create a butt joint. Run the knife over the butt joint again to shave off any excess. Then run a finger over the butt to feel if the joint is 100% flush. Always be sure to install the keel and rudder first before working on the main areas. This creates optimal workflow by neutralizing the center for large sections. Be sure to measure beforehand to avoid cutting panels that are too long or too short. The goal is to have less than 5% waste at the end of the job. Keep in mind that Finsulate is non-directional, so there's no need to take time to see if the panel matches the previous one. For smaller sections, installers can work solo, as this will free up the other installer to cut down panels or work on the other side of the keel when possible. The antifouling film does not stretch during install, so bleed top and bottom only 3 to 6 cm or 2 inches. This helps reduce waste and costs, so precise measurements are key. The final initial tech of the adhesive is very high, but during install they can be repositioned, so always be sure to pick it back up in order to make sure the panel is even. And here's a close-up of a finished butt joint on a large section. For small sections, fill them in preferably with pre-cut edges to help speed up the install. With the keel and rudder completed, it's time to measure the main hull. Use a 75 cm base when configuring where to measure the length of each panel, and be sure to factor in the curves. Even though panels will be butt joined together, it's still a good idea to work from back to front if there are any overlaps. They'll face away from where the boat is going. For the 3 to 4 panels on front and back of the boat, there will be an overlap on the panels due to the curve. And be sure to factor this in when cutting the length of the panels. Working with 2 installers can ensure that the panels lay flat to the hull during the squeegee process. A good tip is to make relief cuts in stages before making the long cut. This will help the butt joint sit uniformly. If there are stands holding the boat in place, once a panel is less than 75 centimeters from one side of it, then it's important to start the next run on the other side. Then fill in the gap in between the 2 main panels. Scraps can be used to fill these gaps as long as 100% of the hull is covered by the Finsulate anti-fouling film. Because the section underneath the stands cannot be applied during the main install, be sure to cut extra pieces that can be applied once the boat is moved and about to be put in the water. On some boats there may be certain areas that have large holes. These holes will need to be framed with thin strips that can be prepped on a cutting table with a straight edge frame. After framing, manageable strips can be put in. Make sure to put the strips flush right away so you don't have to cut. With minor raised objects, the key is to use the triangle technique. Instead of heating to spread the film around the area, the triangle technique can avoid any wrinkles and keep the film uniform in appearance. A little wrinkle is not a big issue though. Finsulate is functional, not aesthetical. Once the film is set, simply squeegee it in place. The film bridging the gap should not be forced in, but instead tucked and cut. Here are the post-install details. Always be sure to do a thorough 360-degree check over. There's no need to post-heat or edge seal. It's extremely important to make a 360-degree check over to ensure that all edges are fully sealed and all butt joints flush. This helps with durability and that there is no exposed surface for fouling to adhere to. Technically, the boat can go under the water within 1 hour, but it's safest to let the adhesive cure on the hull for 24 hours to ensure a maximum of adhesion. For removals, use a steamer to ensure easy removal. Light adhesive residue can remain and can be overpainted. For small damages, repair is easy. Just remove a rectangle around, clean and fill in with a patch. Make sure to cut all edges to a flush surface. Thank you for watching this instruction video and good luck with your first Finsulate install.